Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friends and Fiction Show. I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey.
I'm Patti Callahan Henry.
I'm Kristin Harmel.
I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
And this is Friends and Fiction, 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories to support indie bookstores, authors, and librarians.
And if you're not with us already, we hope you'll join our Facebook group. It is now more than 300,000 members strong. That's incredible. We'd also like to invite you to follow us on Instagram and YouTube and to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, which is full of amazing bonus content. You can find out more about our community and everything we have to offer at friendsandfiction.com.
And if you follow us on our socials and subscribe to our newsletter, you might already know that we are running a giveaway this week with 5 advanced copies of Quantum Tempest, the new adventure novel in Clive Cussler's #1 New York Times bestselling Oregon Files series. The entry deadline is this Friday, November 7th at midnight, so be sure you're entered. Meg is going to reveal the 5 lucky winners on Monday the 10th.
Can we enter? Because I want to enter. Can we enter?
Right, exactly. All right. So on this episode, we are so excited to welcome bestselling author David Baldacci to discuss his new novel, Nash Falls, which is set to be released on November 11th. And remember, everyone, we are live tonight. So if you have a question for David, put it in the comments and we will do our best to ask a few of them live tonight. Also, make sure to stick around for the after show because we will have a very fun announcement that you are not going to want to miss.
So to kick us off tonight, we have what we are calling and nicknaming and dubbing the KH Cover Palooza.
Cover Palooza. That is correct. It is a new word which we voted on. So Encyclopedia Britannica, take note. Both Kristy Woodson Harvey and Kristin Harmel have cover reveals. What are the chances? Sean,
Pretty big, actually.
Yeah. Sean, can you show us the cover for Kristy's Summer State of Mind, which releases in May?
Yay!
You're seeing it for the very first time. I love this cover so much. Okay. Thank you, Sean. Kristin and I are going to be telling you more about our new releases during the after show. So make sure to stick around for that. And now, Sean, can you show us the cover for Kristin Harmel's fabulous, amazing Meet Me in Paris? Ta-da! Read, devoured, loved, needs to be pre-ordered. It releases in August.
You're so sweet. I love it. It's a great cover. I'm so excited. And it is so fun getting a sneak peek of everything that's to come. So stay tuned for more big news coming in just a few minutes.
Okay, so ladies, I'm so happy that we're all here tonight live, even though Patty's in Hawaii. So thanks for joining us. So I'm heading to Chapel Hill tomorrow to cross something off my bucket list / face one of my biggest fears. So I'm teaching at UNC tomorrow, which is the bucket list part. I'm super excited about that. To 185 freshmen in the journalism school, which is the biggest fear part, like the Gen Z stare times 185. I'm so nervous. They're not going to find me entertaining or humorous or anything. So these are all students who know they want to write, but they don't know exactly sure what or in what capacity. So some want to be journalists, some might go more creative route, some want to be in marketing, some want to be in PR, some want to be in broadcast. So my question for you is, rewind when you were just starting out, figuring out what you wanted to do with your life. And what advice would you give to your younger self?
Am I
Mary
supposed to?
Kay.
Oh, am I supposed to go first?
I'm sorry. The host should cue you. Mary Kay Andrews, could you start, please?
Yeah, because I'm the oldest. Okay, so yeah, maybe don't be like me. Don't be so hyper focused on your career goals. Take a minute to develop an inquiring mind. Read, travel, volunteer, even work. These are the things that give you a more rounded out, multi-dimensional person. And for me personally, now, I wish I'd taken a few more English lit classes in college instead of so many journalism classes.
Oh, interesting.
Well, you're kind of getting a PhD in that through Friends and Fiction.
Yes.
In my opinion. Yeah. Kristin, what about you?
Yeah, I think kind of along those lines, I always wanted to be a novelist, but I went to school for journalism because I thought that's just not a practical goal right out of the gate. And I think if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would just say, try it sooner. Take that leap, even if you fall, even if you fail. And which I think is a good life lesson, not just when you're young, but all along. I think it's something we should always be reminding ourselves of, to not be afraid to take that leap.
I love that. What about you, Patti?
I get asked a lot if I wish I'd gone to creative writing school or journalism school instead of nursing school. And I don't. Yeah. I loved being a pediatric nurse. I don't think 1 minute of that was wasted. But if I had to give young Patti some advice, I would say, relax, Patti. Everything's going to be all right. Just worry less, enjoy more, pursue the things that scare you instead of always going for the sure thing to be really safe and get the A so you can get in graduate school and get a good job. And like you, Mary Kay, I would say read everything. I wish I had read more of the classics.
Me too.
I'm reading Frankenstein for the first time because little Will's reading it for school. And I was like, I'm going to read it too. So I never read that.
There you go. Yeah, but you took those literature classes.
Well, yeah, and I got a master's in literature. So I've done my fair share there. But
what would you tell yourself?
Well, so it was funny because all the things that you said are like things that I'm talking about tomorrow. But then also, I wish that I had taken more advantage of the professors. I mean, you have people
that doesn't sound good, but okay.
Not like that. It was a different time. Just kidding. But you have all these people there that are not only talking the talk, but they're walking the walk. They are there because they have risen to the best in their field. And I just don't think I really, I would go to more office hours. I would ask more questions. I would ask for more help than I really did. And then also, I think it has taken me 10 years to realize this, but the connections, I got this amazing offer for this writing thing the other day, just out of the blue. And I was like, this is so fun. This is so up my alley. And I said, yes, right away. And someone emailed me right back and she was like, hey, do you remember me? And we had worked on the magazine at Carolina together. And it's taken me 10 years to be like, you know what? There's someone from my journalism school that is on every magazine or newspaper, all these connections I wish I had kept up with more, which is easier now with social media. I mean, I think it was a little bit harder because we had social media, but it was I don't know, you weren't keeping up that way. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for that. I'm using all of your advice tomorrow. So thank you for that.
Okay. You just used us. I feel so used.
I used y'all so much.
I
do my homework for me. Y'all did my homework. All right. Let's get to David and give you a little bit of background on him.
Yeah, David Baldacci published his first novel, Absolute Power, in 1996. The feature film adaptation followed with Clint Eastwood as its director and star. In total, David has published 52 novels for adults. All have been national and international bestsellers, and several have been adapted for film and television.
His novels are published in more than 45 languages and in more than 80 countries, with 150 million copies sold worldwide. David has also published 7 novels for young readers.
A lifelong Virginian, David received his bachelor's degree from Virginia Commonwealth University and his law degree from the University of Virginia School of Law, after which he practiced law in Washington, D.C.
All right, Sean, can you bring David on? Hi. Hi.
Hi,
Welcome
David.
to Fun Fiction.
I could sit here and listen to you guys all night. That was awesome.
You might get bored. You might click
I
off.
don't think so. I don't think I'm going to get bored.
This is your portion of the program now. We're happy to tell you. And we know the audience is probably happy too. But thank you for being here. We're so happy to have you. We're so happy to celebrate Nash Falls with you. Nash Falls is a pulse-pounding thriller about an ordinary man forced into an extraordinary situation. So when successful executive Walter Nash is recruited by the FBI to expose a global money laundering scheme inside his own company, his carefully ordered life implodes. Betrayal, danger, and moral reckoning collide as Nash is pushed to become someone he never thought he could be, and maybe someone he can't live with. So that's a little bit about what the book is about. Can you tell us what it's really about?
You know, when you write a book, at least for me, I try to have a goal with the story. And with Nash, it was how far could I push a guy, not just up to the wall, but through the wall, and everything that he had ever earned in his life away from him, and then see what he would do after that. And if he could be resilient enough to pick himself back up and have the courage to become the opposite of who he always was, to move forward. Because I gave him 2 choices in the novel, and no matter which choice he made, it was going to mean the end of Walter Nash. And that's a tough sort of, thing to have to confront, particularly when you worked hard and you have a nice life and you think that you're going to continue to have a nice life. I just wanted people to know that life can turn on a dime, and you think you're wonderful and everything's great, and the next day it's all gone. It should make you sort of appreciate what you have and live day to day and live for the moment. But with him, I'd never created a character like him before. He has no special skills outside of business. He's never lifted a weight in his life. He's never fired a gun in anger. He's not a cop. He's not a military guy. He's just a guy. He's good at making money. And then I just blow his whole life up and then see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So one of the things that struck me most was how Nash Falls blends sort of the adrenaline rush of your trademark thrillers with this very personal, emotional undercurrent, which actually I feel like was a real hallmark of your last few books too. So you've always been brilliant at creating these fast-paced plots, but as you were just kind of alluding to a little bit, this is a story about identity, about who we are when everything safe and familiar is stripped away. So Nash, of course, goes from being a corporate executive to a man literally fighting for his life. Can you tell us a little bit about where he came from for you? I mean, you told us a little bit about the seed for it, but how did you go about building the bones of Walter Nash out?
Usually I'm on a walk or a bike ride or blowing leaves. I have like 12 leaf blowers because I like to go out and blow leaves, and I just come up with ideas. But his name came to me right away, Walter Nash. That was his name. Okay. I don't know where it came from. It just fit the guy. And then I thought, what am I going to do with a Walter Nash? Well, he's going to be a successful businessman, and he's going to have not a perfect life. One side of his life is perfect. His relationship with his father was estranged, and that was a terrible part of his life, one that he thought was never going to change. And some of those secrets are revealed in the novel as well. But, a lot of books are written about mothers and daughters and mothers and sons, not too many about fathers and sons. And so this is one that, I wanted to tackle, to give him, as I like to say, sort of, a millstone around the neck. I throw him in the water and I throw in an anchor with him too, to see if he can actually swim. And I just really, I wanted to take everything that he had away from him. Because look, in this world, people, they look at what they have in their life and they count it as what they identify as, what your job is, your family is, and all that. And it's not really that. It's not really supposed to be that. So taking it all away, you have to rebuild yourself. And guess what? At the end of the day, when you come back, you may be as unlike the person you used to be as possible. And maybe there's a reason for that. And outside the scope of a thriller, just in your own life, to do a self-evaluation like that, you may be leading a life that you're really not even happy about. that you don't even want. You're pursuing something else because it's what other people have labeled you or identified as what your life should be. So this was a way for me to at least to think through, sort of, I spent, a decade as a lawyer. I didn't mind being a lawyer. It didn't rock my boat. I didn't get up every morning going, thanks God for another day to sue and destroy someone. It's just a wonderful stuff. So I sort of have an inkling of what that feels like too, leading a life that really is not the life you wanted.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering if identity was always a major thread of this book, or if that kind of rose to the surface. But I was also wondering whether it's the life circumstance that he encounters that pushes him into this transformation, but there's also a push from his dad and his dad's best friend. So was that always there, or was that something that kind of developed as you worked through these questions of identity?
A lot of it for me grows organically. I don't outline my books. I don't know the ending of any of my books before, I get really to the end. I like to be in the trenches when I have to make my important decisions. I don't want to look at an outline that I did 3 months before I even started the first page of the novel. How am I supposed to know what a character is going to do before I even meet them on the page? So I like to write in the trenches, and where my decisions at that moment in time are going to matter. Outlines, you can kick the can down the road. You don't have to get to the depth that you need to actually write a novel. You can say, I'll figure that out later. Well, when you're writing a novel, there is no later, it is now, and you have to make those decisions now. And so those came while I was writing the novel, because as you unpeel the character, then you have to understand what you need to put back on to make him fully fledged out. I knew that his father from the grave was going to be a really indelible influence on him, and using shock as the medium and the foil to be able to do that more forcefully. The scene in the church was one. I knew that I was going to have that because I wanted that punch in the gut right away. And once I hit him in the gut, then I brought him home. He got drunk, and then I slammed him in the face with a fist. When the FBI came calling, and I tell people about the story. They said, don't give it away. And I said, that's the first 2 chapters of the novel. I'm not really giving anything away because I like to hit the ground running with that. So when I had those 2 pieces, the church scene, shock, the FBI, then everything else, as Mozart used to say, it's just ink. It's in there. All you have to do is pull it out and put it down on a piece of paper. So it was fun. It was fun building this story.
It was fun to go on that ride.
Yeah.
I've never heard that quote. It's in the ink. I'm gonna write that down when we're done. I really want to talk about Victoria Steers. She is one of your most fascinating villains yet. She is powerful. She is calculating, and of course, unforgettable. What makes a great antagonist for you? I can tell how much you've thought about Nash. What makes a great antagonist for you when you're thinking about it before you even put your ink to the paper?
So when I first started thinking about Victoria Steers, I was going to use her in a certain way. And in the sequel to this that comes out in April, Hope Rises, she dominates that book. And what I do with the Victoria Steers in that novel, when I first started out, I had no idea that I was going to do that with her. I've tried to do something with her that I've never done with another character in any of my other books before. And I knew that she had to be, not the standard villainess, but she's smart, she's flawed. She's got, as I like to say, a lot of baggage that she has to deal with in her life. You don't really know what makes her tick in Nash Falls. You know that she's head of this organization. She makes lots of money. She's a criminal. She has people killed. She has a mother that is in dire straits, and she's trying to sort of remedy that. She's dealing with people even more powerful than she is, and she has to survive them. So really what you need to do when you build a character like that to make them not a cartoon is to make their survival in doubt, that they're having to deal with people that are even more powerful than they are. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? She's got to be tough and savvy, because if she's not, she's going to get killed too. And then all of a sudden, I'm not saying you're rooting for her. You may not be rooting against her as viciously as you might otherwise be. And I didn't want to make her one-dimensional or even two-dimensional. I wanted to make her fully fleshed out. And Hope Rises, I think I achieved that. Because again, I went all out. I laid it all on the line with Victoria Steers, particularly in the second book.
So it sounds like, I mean, to me, I know you don't outline, But that feels like maybe that's more about plot, because you have given your characters a great deal of consideration before you even start writing.
Yeah. You really have to understand the meat of what you want to use them for and what they're supposed to be at the end of the day. All the other things you can think of as you're writing the story, but having a through line of, okay, on page 1, he's going to be this, she's going to be this. What are they going to be on page 420?
Yep.
You know, I'm going to put them through a lot of crap and a lot of stuff. And if they survive that, who are they going to be when they're standing, if they are still standing or not? And you'd have to sort of think about the through line to get them there, because if it's not meaty enough, weighty enough, then is it going to justify where they end up? Or readers
they don't have to make a moral choice. Then
yeah,
what is it for? Right.
Exactly right. And moral choices, we all have to make those. You know, maybe some of the more than others, but we all have to make them in the course of our lives. And anytime you can get characters to sort of dwell upon the things that real people dwell upon, then you're going to get them hooked to read the entire book, because they're always going to ask the question, what the hell would I have done?
Yeah.
David, you've written in so many genres: thrillers, historical fiction, books for younger readers, and yet they all share this incredible drive and an emotional truth. Do you find it challenging to move between such different kinds of stories?
I think my moving between all these different genres is the one reason I've been in the business as long as I have. It keeps me fresh and scared to death. You're going to be, doing this class tomorrow, and you said you were scared about it, but I found that fear is it's a rocket fuel for creativity, because being unsure of yourself means that you're going to try harder, and that chip on your shoulder is going to feel a little bit heavier, but you're going to bring your A game because you feel like you have to. Complacency is just a killer for creativity. You just start going through the motions, and how did I do it last time? I just changed the names. So if I'm writing historical fiction, I have no idea if I can pull it off. I'm scared to death going in, and I just work harder. The same with fantasies for younger people. When I wrote my fantasy series for younger people, I was probably the most scared I've ever been. I'm like, kids are super smart, and if I don't deliver, if I don't bring my A game, this is going to be really bad. It's going to be really, really bad. But again, I tried to rise to the occasion because I was just terrified that I was going to fall on my face.
That is our daily fear. So you just alluded to that there's a follow-up for this, but we hear that Nash Falls is book 1 of a whole new series, not just a book out in April, Hope Rising, you called it. Yeah. So you have written a number of standalones and a few series. How do you decide? How do you know when it's going to be a standalone or a series?
So there's no real true litmus test. My first 12 or 13 books were all standalone. Then I wrote a book called Split Second that had the King and Maxwell duo. And at the end of that novel, I was like, well, I've set up something that I can bring them back again. And they seem like they have great chemistry. I think that I have more to reveal with who they are. They have additional character arcs I can drive them through. But I thought, okay, let's go for it. I had the same sort of litmus test, with Amos Decker or Will Roby or Ella Wish Archer and, the Camel Club. If there's more juice and I want to spend more time with them, and if the answers to those questions are yes, it's the difference between writing, a movie one and done, which is a standalone, or a series like a TV series where you get multiple shots to try to evolve the characters even more. So if you set up a character so that at the end of the first novel, they still got things unexplored, then you probably have a good opportunity to keep going.
Do you know before you write the novel that it will be a standalone or a series? Or do you decide into the book or at the end of the book? How do you know when?
I decide. Sometimes I'm halfway through the book and I'm like, this person is very cool. I'd like to spend more time with them.
Okay.
Sometimes at the end, and at the end, I leave it in a way that sets them up to come back again. And I really feel like I want to spend more time with them. I will never bring a character back just to bring them back because they're popular and I could turn out another book with them. Yeah, that might be, your publisher may love that, but you're not going to have fun writing it. And reader's probably not going to have fun reading it.
Well, thank goodness that the sequel to this one is going to be out in April because I have questions. I have a lot of questions. At the end, I was like, what? Oh my gosh, I have to know what happens next. So thank goodness this is a series. So
In addition to being a prolific writer, David, you are a devoted philanthropist, largely for your family's Wish You Well Foundation, which supports family and adult literacy programs in the United States. I know we talked about this last time you were on the show, but in 2008, the foundation partnered with Feeding America to launch Feeding Body and Mind, a program to address the connection between literacy, poverty, and hunger. Through Feeding Body and Mind, more than 1 million new and gently used books have been collected and distributed through food banks to families in need. So that's amazing. We would love for you to tell us a little bit about the genesis of the Wish You Well Foundation, what it means to you, and maybe particularly now as we head into the holiday season, how can our viewers out there help?
So we founded, my wife and I founded the Wish You Well Foundation probably 23 or 24 years ago. When I first started out on book tour, a lot of my events are sponsored, all of you know, by friends in the library or libraries. And I got a crash course in literacy. And I was a political science major in college, so I read a lot about political economies and things like that. And so I came to understand the direct nexus between literacy and socioeconomic issues and problems. The higher the literacy rate in the country, the more prosperous it is, the more egalitarian it is, and the more empathetic that it is. All good things. And countries that have high literacy rates have corresponding low rates of homelessness, poverty, crime, and social injustice.
Wow.
The nexuses between those things it's indisputable at this point. So the more readers you have, the better life is going to be for everybody in whatever society or country you live in. So what we do at the Wish You Well Foundation, we fund literacy programs and initiatives. We were just in Asheville and in Highlands that were both affected by the hurricane, doing fundraising for both of those organizations. They help a lot of people learn to read at a higher level, from little kids all the way up to adults. And I know that every time we fund a program and they teach more people how to read at a higher level, it's going to help everybody living in this country. And if you want to rid the United States of what seems to be the intractable problems we're confronted with, it's not to try to create more billionaires. It's lifting people up to give them higher levels of reading ability, because that will dictate economically how successful they are, and it will dictate socially how successful they are, because the verb to read is the same as the verb to think. And in this day and age, to be an engaged citizen in a democracy, if you can't read at a high level, you are not going to be an engaged citizen in democracy. You are going to be susceptible to people telling you what you're supposed to think and who you're supposed to vote for. And it's only going to get worse as AI gets even more and more convincing. You know, we're already in the middle of where anybody can create their own reality and make people believe it. So it's really critical now that we lift up the reading and critical and cognitive abilities of everybody in this country.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Preaching
Now,
to the choir. Yeah.
Yeah.
now more than ever.
Yeah.
David, you tell a story about being a child and your mother giving you a lined notebook in which to write down your stories, which is very sweet. On that note, what were the values around reading and writing in your childhood?
Yeah, neither one of my parents had the opportunity to go to college. They were both from huge families, and money was not there. And my mother grew up in a time period where women were not expected to have higher education opportunities. But for their kids, my brother and sister and I were the first ones in our family to go to college. We went to a college that was really, at that point, a commuter college. VCU is now a powerhouse. It's quite the university. It's one of the top 30 research universities in the country now. But they understood that reading was going to be our way out and our way up. And they took us to the library every week. I'm old enough to have grown up in the middle of Jim Crow in Virginia. When I was born, segregation was the law of the land.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, you too, Mary. And I grew up around a lot of people who thought that was perfectly fine. I talk about this in the book Calamity of Souls. And really the only thing that saved me was going to the library every week. And I got to travel the world without a plane ticket or a passport. See, the thing with racists, they will tell you their argument, because I know this, I grew up with this. I grew up with millions of people telling me this, that you should be afraid of those people because they don't look like you. They're not like you. They're different from you. If you meet them in the pages of the book, guess what? The boogeyman effect goes away. Now, T-shirts, books are body armor against bigotry, because they are. So that argument no longer worked with me. And I became someone deeply empathetic for all human beings. And books did that for me. Books teach you empathy. And leads to all the best in humanity, because it leads to things like respect and dignity and love. And the more you have of that in a society, the better world you're going to have. So yeah, my parents were all in. They wanted us to be good people. And if you want to build good people, they need to read.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, the studies about reading and empathy are just absolutely amazing. And it's scary that it's amazing you're doing such good work for our kids, because kids are not reading like they used to be. And it's
Well, I just found out today. I was out with a trainer of mine doing some, at my age, I need to train and exercise and, stretch and all that other stuff. And we were talking about social media. And because people, these days, the average American reads 16 minutes a day for pleasure, 16 minutes a day. We are on our screens for 12 hours and 41 minutes on average.
Oh my God.
That's not reading a book.
whoa.
In a typical adult lifespan of 62 years, we will read 3/4 of a year. 9 months out of those 62 years are spent reading for pleasure. 31 and a half years are spent looking at a screen of our adult life. That's on average for typical American. But there's a device out there called the brick. Have you heard of the brick?
Mm-hmm.
So you can go and buy a brick, and the brick will lock out all of your social media accounts. And then you can go and hide the brick. And you can't do it wirelessly. You have to take the book, your phone, to the brick and tap it against the brick before your social media accounts are unlocked. Otherwise, you can't access them. So here's
just ordering one right now.
So I would suggest that everybody get a brick, log it in with your social media accounts. If you live near a body of water, drive there, maybe over a bridge, roll down your window and chuck the brick out the window.
I love that.
That's hilarious.
So great. Well, David, we have a lot of live questions coming in for you. You have a lot of fans out there. So let's pull some. Kristin, can you pull a live question for us?
Yeah. Deborah, who's watching on YouTube tonight, says, with Nash Falls, was there a particular scene or moment in the book that was especially meaningful or difficult for you to write, and why?
Oh, good one.
Good one. Probably the most difficult scene in the novel was when, without giving too much away, Walter Nash sees what he thinks is his daughter online, saying something about him that is totally devastating, and really is a tipping point for the entire novel and sends Nash off on another pathway that people probably won't see coming. That was hard. I mean, I have a grown daughter. I'm very close to her. I just, she sent me a card that says, "Dad, I love you. You always have my back. No matter what I do, you always have my back." And writing that scene, sometimes I had to get up from the chair and just go for a walk, because it was hard to put the words down. I knew what I needed to write. I knew what I needed to say. I knew what the effect was going to be, both on him and his wife. But sometimes, but I guess because I had to do that, it probably was a good scene, because readers are going to be, I want readers to read that with difficulty. If they don't, then I didn't do my job.
Oh, it was a gut punch. It was such a good scene. Yeah.
If you don't care, your readers aren't going to care.
Yep.
Exactly right. And then guess what? They're not going to read the book. They're not going to finish it. They're like, they're going to go on Amazon and then trash me. So
That's right.
They're going to do that anyway. The packaging was ripped. Who knows?
Yeah. What was the one you got, Kristy, one time? Like it didn't clean
it was clearly for not my book, but it was like, this did not hold the corners of my rug down at all. And I was like, is this for rug tape, or did they buy my book to hold their rug down? You don't really know.
One reader gave me 1 star on Amazon one time, and they said, I figured it out in the last 3 pages and therefore found it predictable.
Oh, you figured it out in the last 3 pages.
Wow. You figured it out in the last 3 pages.
That's a high bar, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I call a prescient reader.
What a smarty pants that one is.
Patti, can you pull a question for us?
I will. I'm going to kind of take a curveball here and move away from books and plot, because we have a live question from Meg Walker.
Oh.
She said she is curious if the elaborate outdoor Halloween decorations that you posted of the author skeleton typing at the typewriter on the patio was actually from your own home or not?
It is. My wife is she's a Halloween freak. I mean, my
Oh
God.
my gosh, that's great.
She answers the door in full Maleficent gear with the, the green face and everything. Scares the crap out of all the kids. We have the whirling umbrellas from Fantasia outside that whirl around, and the skeleton is out there typing, and all this stuff opens up and scares the crap out of me, and I'm the one who put it up. So, so that's all there. That's all true. The kids love
That's the real deal. Okay.
our street.
awesome.
Me too. That's so
I
awesome.
have to go back and look and check that out. Okay. Susan Cobb on YouTube asks if there are going to be any more books in the Camel Club series.
Yeah, so I've sold a bunch of series recently. The Camel Club is at NBC, 620 Man is at Netflix, The Winner's at Netflix, Memory Man is at Amazon, King and Maxwell, they're doing a reboot at AMC, and Will Roby is also, I sold Will Roby as well. I have not done the Camel Club. They were super special to me. They're just so different. I wrote the Camel Club because when I first moved to DC, my office was near the White House, and I walked past Lafayette Park when they allowed people to be in Lafayette Park. And I remember so vividly, they had the sign up between two of the trees in Lafayette Park, and it said, have a nice doomsday, And they had a woman there with her little hut, and she would sell these pamphlets about, anti-nuclear pamphlets to denounce nuclear weapons, nuclear war. And she was there for like 25 years. And you had all these permanent White House protesters. And I thought it was fascinating, and the Secret Service knew who they were. But then I had an idea, what if one of them used to work for the government and the government came after him and he had to go underground, but he's right there under their noses protesting the government that he knows was wrong. And I kept it in my hip pocket for like 10 years. And I started writing the first Camel Club with Oliver Stone. I love those guys. And working with the writers for the TV show, I've really felt myself energized again about them. So they might come back. Again, I don't want to bring them back just to bring them back. I want to bring them back because I want to be with them again and take it from us. So we'll never say never.
It's a great sentiment. All right, well, David, if you'll stick around, we have a couple more things to ask you, but first, a couple of quick reminders for our audience out there.
Yeah, for all of you watching and listening, we encourage you to rush out and buy your copies of Nash Falls. The perfect place to do that is in the Friends and Fiction shop on bookshop.org. You'll not only be getting it at a discount, but all your purchases there support our show, our guests, and indie bookstores nationwide.
And don't forget to visit friendsandfiction.com for details on our show schedule. Oh my gosh, our show schedule this season, including David, is just incredible. Upcoming in-person events and links to our merchandise store, our Substack newsletter sign up, and the award-winning Friends and Fiction official book club with Brenda and Lisa. On Monday, November 17th, they are hosting Alicia Fernandez Miranda to discuss her new novel, such a clever title, Someone's Gotta Give.
Yeah, that is clever. All right. And speaking of our Substack, you can read all our free weekly posts on the Substack website or app, or you can subscribe for free to get them directly to your inbox. And if you upgrade to our paid Substack, which costs just $5 a month, you'll have access to deeper dives with all of our weekly show guests like David, plus monthly roundtable discussions like the recent one we ran with Jack DeBrule, who took over part of the massively successful Clive Cussler adventure novel universe. If you enjoy tuning in for our weekly author interviews, this is a big way you can support us for about $1 each week. And we want to say a special thank you this week to all of our subscribers and especially all of our paid subscribers. You are the ones who keep us going. So check us out at friendsandfiction.substack.com.
David, would you tell us? Am I out of turn?
You're good.
No.
You go.
Okay, tell us where we can find you on the road, as well as updates from you online. And Meg says we need to remind people to check out your Instagram.
Yeah, I think I do have Instagram, don't I? I don't even know. I don't know how to get on there, but other people do that for me.
I'm jealous.
I have Facebook too, I believe, and the other. So I'm going on tour. And by the way, you guys have a lot going on, man. That is a lot of stuff. I'm impressed. Man. So yeah, I'm gonna be in New York on I think 10th. I'm in Stamford and Foxborough and Westerly and someplace else, and then New Jersey and like 4 stops in Pennsylvania: Bryn Mawr, Lancaster, and Bucks, and then Brooklyn Park, Maryland. You know, I don't have to tour anymore. I'm part of this ecosystem. We all have to tour because this is, you know, if one of us doesn't part of the ecosystem doesn't shoulder our burden, then the whole ecosystem dies, you know. And I can go to a bookstore and bring in hundreds of people and they can sell a bunch of books, and guess what? We're going to have bookstores. We're going to have independent bookstores that are thriving, and authors are critical to the success of those stores, you know. Publishers, authors, readers, we're all part of this huge family. So I love going out on tour. One, I love meeting booksellers, new ones that I've known for, you know, 25 or 30 years. I love meeting readers. And you know, it's a blast being around people who love books. Man, that's my world.
I love that answer.
Yeah, they can find your tour schedule on davidbaldacci.com. Is that?
Yeah, davidbaldacci.com. Yeah, you can go there. Otherwise, if you've thrown your brick in the water, I think you're just going to have to, you know, you're SOL.
Maybe it'll be in your local newspaper.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Check your local indie. There you go.
Yeah, check with your bookstore.
Yeah, so that was such a great answer, especially because the sort of impetus for this show to begin with was to help support independent bookstores during the pandemic. So I know we all really heartily agree with that sentiment, and know that all those stores appreciate you coming out to support them. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, David, we cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure to have you on Friends in Fiction, and we wish you nothing but the best on tour and with the launch of Nash Falls, and we know our readers are going to love it.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it as always, guys. Thank you.
Great to see you, David.
David, thanks for coming on.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So be sure to tune in next week when Patti and I will welcome Brisa Carlton to discuss her new novel, Last Call at the Savoy. That show will air on the Friends in Fiction Facebook page and YouTube channel on Wednesday, November 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it will be published to our podcast for your listening pleasure on Friday, November 14th. And don't leave because we have an after show with our big
Don't go anywhere. I have things.
But thank you all for being out there with us, and we will see you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in. You can join us every week on Facebook or YouTube, where our live show airs on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. We're so glad you're here.
All right, friends. Welcome to the after show. I am here to tell you about our big, huge, monster Friends in Fiction announcement. And we think that this announcement deserves a PCH drum roll. But before I pick out my drums here in Hawaii, I want to tell you that this announcement has solved all of my holiday gift giving ideas. It is a one-stop shop because
ta-da! No, I'm kidding. That's right. It is time for the Friends in Fiction 2026 Spring Subscription.
That's right. You've been asking, and so we give.
Yep.
We have partnered up with our friends at Oxford Exchange down in Tampa again to give you 3 new signed exclusive hardback first editions. Kristy's Summer State of Mind in May, my road trip in June, and Kristin's Meet Me in Paris in August. And do you like how the titles kind of go together? Like Summer State of Mind, take a road trip, and then Meet Me in Paris works out?
Yep.
Oh, man, that's
And
so
the covers are all green. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Very, very exciting. So when you purchase your subscription, you will get each book as it is released, plus special surprise Friends in Fiction swag that we're working really hard on and we'll be telling you about soon. Oh, God, that scared me. The book just fell with each order that you cannot get anywhere else.
So ladies, it is so much fun this year because my main role, without a new book out this year, is hype woman, wing woman for your 3 new incredible books. And I think you need to tell everyone else, because I already know, because, I'm me, but I think you need to tell everyone else about the new spring books. So Kristy, why don't you go first, since you're out first, and tell us all about Summer State of Mind coming out May 5th.
Well, I have to tell you all this first. So see how this looks like a book, and it's like, ooh, this is actually Network, Training the NBA's Best and Finding the Keys to Greatness. So these are fake.
I was wondering when I saw your post today on Instagram, I was like, how does she have hardcover arcs?
Yeah, so Gallery sent me cover flats, and then just like random like Gallery published books are inside the cover flats, which is so funny. So
that's
anyway, so in a very small nutshell, Summer State of Mind is about a burnout NICU nurse and an injured former...
Wait, you have to tell people what a NICU nurse is.
Oh, a neonatal intensive care nurse.
I mean, I know, but not everybody knows.
Thank you. That's actually a really good point. I didn't think of that. And an injured former baseball star and an eccentric Southern aunt and an abandoned baby that is found in their tiny town that just sort of throws everything into chaos and brings these sort of unlikely characters into each other's orbits in a way that they never could have imagined. So they will each learn that with a lot of love, a little understanding, and a community theater production of Hello, Dolly, sometimes life conspires to bring us exactly where we belong. So the Summer State of Mind.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, MKA, you're in the hot seat.
I don't have a really practiced elevator pitch like that. I can tell you that Road Trip is about 2 estranged sisters who've grown up in Savannah. They're very different. One has been sort of a traveling actress. That's Therese. She's the older of the 2 sisters. Maeve is the good sister who stayed home. She's an English professor at a local college. And when their mother dies, they've known it's coming, but after she dies, they find out that she had been saving money for them for many years. She was widowed early, and she'd been saving money in a coffee can for them to go back to the homeland, which is Ireland. And there is a family portrait. If you follow my social media and you know I love old portraits, there's always a story. And so there is a family portrait that's always hung over their mom's fireplace in their very humble home in Savannah. And their mother's always said, "This is one of your ancestors. She was Lady Geraldine Fitzhugh, and this is by a very famous artist, and it's a very valuable painting." And they don't believe any of that because their mother is what one they call a fabulist. She likes to make up stories, which is something my mom liked to do too. So,
I had never heard fabulist until you told us that. I love that so much.
Yeah, she is a Mary Helen is her name, Mary Helen Dunnigan, and she's a fabulist. And so the sisters unwillingly, and they also discover after their mother's death that the only real asset they've left, their mother has left, is her home, which they've always believed was paid off. And both of the sisters are in, economic straits, and they find out that their mother's been swindled by an online televangelist, and the house has been heavily mortgaged. So the only thing they can do is they go on the road trip to find out the truth about this portrait, and also find out the truth about who they are and their relationship with each other.
I love that. Oh, I can't wait. These books.
Oh, I cannot wait for this. I've been listening to you talk about it for so long, and I'm ready.
Yep. But I mean, that's the cool thing though. Like, we've all been along on the ride with each other's writing processes, right? It's like by the time it comes out, I feel like we all feel so much a part of each other's books, right? Like,
yeah, even though you all did refuse to rewrite the scene I needed you to write for me this week. Very selfish. Selfishly, I must add.
we're selfish.
We believe in you, Mary Kay.
I'm glad you do, because I don't.
All right, Kristin.
Tell us about Meet Me in Paris.
Yeah, sure. So it is 9 Americans in Paris, 7 intertwining love stories, 1 city of light. So I pitched it as Love Actually meets The Notebook, all set over the course of a single week. Well, there's also an epilogue, but most of it takes place over a single week in modern day Paris. So it was a challenge for me. I primarily write historical, but I had this idea for a Love Actually style story. And I knew if I was going to write something like that, it had to be in Paris. And I've been thinking for years about how I would do this. I was not supposed to have a 2026 book. This was my bonus book because this is a book I'd just been wanting to write forever. So even though I say 7 intertwining love stories, it is not like short story. It's not like a short story collection. It is one cohesive novel that just weaves these 7 stories together. So if you like Love Actually, if you like Paris, I do hope you will meet me in Paris.
If you don't like Love Actually or Paris, then like we don't.
Yeah,
We don't know what's wrong. We can't fix it.
We can't. I
cannot
can't
fix
you.
you.
I can't.
If you don't like either of those things, then we don't know what to say.
Well, I can't wait to read each and every one of these new books. And like I said, hello, holiday gifts. So make sure to order one of these subscription boxes for every single person on your list and, make people happy.
Mm-hmm. Including yourself. Self-gifting is very important. It's very, very important. Yeah.
Exactly. And so big thanks to all of you who've already ordered. Big thanks to those of you who've ordered this subscription box in the past. I mean, the reason we continue to do it again and again is because you guys show up for it. So, so thank you for showing up for it. Your support means the world to us.
Yeah.
So if you love friends and fiction, pre-ordering these authors' books is one of the biggest ways you can support them. Yeah. And I know that you love Kristin Harmel, Mary Kay Andrews, and Kristy, Woodson, Harvey as much as I do. And if you don't, I can't fix you. So, whether it's the subscription box or pre-ordering from any bookseller of your choice, all I can say is that since I don't have a spring book this year, you must order theirs. Buy their book. Damn it.
But that's my line.
I took your line. I'm sorry. I got very excited being the hype man.
You're really good at it. Thank you, Patti.
Pre-order our book, damn it. I have a new book coming out, and I get to say it anyway because I'm old. I'm
there
old
you
and
go.
cranky, and I must have my way.
I love it. Well, we love you guys out there, and we thank you so much for being our biggest cheerleaders and always helping to make every book launch so much fun. And I think, like David Baldacci said, man, we love coming out and being on the road and seeing you guys, and it's coming up soon. So thanks for all your support.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay,
everybody.
so Patti, we're going to let you go because we know you're in Hawaii with your grandkids, but give us like a little status update first.
Oh my gosh, it's so very much fun and it's so very exhausting. And this is why we have kids when we're younger. But for those of you who don't know, my daughter lives in Hawaii. And so we come out a couple times a year. And this time I'm butting it up against teaching at the Kauai Writers Conference next week. So we are actually on Kauai in a little rental house and just having a blast, eating food that Megan doesn't usually let my granddaughters eat, staying up late, getting beat at Uno, playing in the sand. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be tired of or enthralled by all the beach photos and the sandy little butts of the little girls.
So, I love it so much. That's
I know. Speaking of, I'm going to head out there and meet them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you, Patti, for being our hype woman on the box. And
Absolutely.
We will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Everyone.